Evening. Welcome to the City of Binghamton City Council business meeting for Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. Please stand for the pledge. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, will you take a roll call for us, please?
Councilman Scaringi,
Present.
Councilwoman Rasnetti,
Present.
Councilwoman Riley appears to be absent. Councilwoman Friedman,
Present.
Councilman Burns is also absent. Councilman Scanlon,
Present.
President Strong.
Present.
That's 5 here, 2 absent, Riley and Burns.
Okay, thank you. We'll now have the approval of minutes. Councilwoman Rasnetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the December 7th, 2022 business meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. We do need to set a public hearing for our next meeting in January. Mr. Clerk, will you announce that into the record, please?
Yes. The City of Binghamton will hold a public hearing regarding RL 22-299, the rezoning of portions of Conklin Avenue. This public hearing will take place at the next regular City Council business meeting on January 11th, 2023 at 6 p.m. here in Council Chambers. Residents wishing to participate in the public hearing may do so electronically by emailing their comments prior to 1 p.m. on the day of the meeting to clerk@cityofbinghamton.gov or in person during the meeting.
Okay, thank you for that. Please note that Councilman Burns is present. Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Clerk. We now will move on to our public comment section of our meeting. Mr. Clerk, please tell folks how they can participate tonight.
Yes, residents wishing to speak may come down and speak for 5 minutes. You have, please state your full name and if you live or work in the City of Binghamton.
Okay. Well, we give it a second. Any electronic communication?
We have not received any today.
Okay. Okay, well, seeing no one here, we will move on to our legislative agenda tonight. Okay, we do have second reading legislation tonight. We have local law 22-03 considered MPA. Councilman Scaringi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry about that. I ask for unanimous consideration for local law 22-03, a local law amending the charter of the City of Binghamton, Article 1A, Chapter 6, Councilmanic District boundaries pursuant to the Municipal Home Rule Law.
Second.
Okay, do you have any questions or comments on local law 22-03? Councilmember Friedman.
Thank you, President Strawn. You betcha I've got some comments about this piece of legislation. So I unfortunately was not able to make the last business meeting, although I had full intentions to be there. But I had some transportation snafus and was not able to make it back in time. So thank you, Councilman Burns, for reading my comments. So I don't want to repeat too much of what was already read into the record about my opinions about this map, but I wanted to reiterate two things. The first was, I was thinking about why it is we keep running into this issue where there's just enough time to technically get everything done. And we say, okay, we've allowed for feedback. We even held it over for an extra 2 weeks of consideration to maximize public input. But public input is worthless unless we actually allow time for consideration and integration of that feedback, right? Otherwise, our constituents who we represent, who live in these districts, are speaking and the metaphorical mic is shut off. So what I mean by that is if the public hearing occurs at a point in time after which it's possible, or I should say after which it is then not possible to actually incorporate the feedback that we receive and formulate a new map or adjust the map that we have, then we haven't really, we've done things by the letter of the law and not the spirit of the law. And that really doesn't sit right with me. And it doesn't sit right with a lot of my constituents as well, who have complained about this. So I don't know if we need to like codify what feedback means functionally. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if it's in the city code or something where we need to amend the language so that we allow for feedback with enough time to thoughtfully incorporate that feedback should we find it prudent to do so. So I just wanted to say, that. The other thing is I wanted to read into the record part of the municipal home rule law, right? Which technically, we've gone over this. Technically, does this map abide by the rules? You know what? I would actually argue no. Some of the bullet points have been fulfilled. For example, the first one, which is the most important one, the map that's here for consideration does have the district divided nearly equally in population, right? So we did that. Great. That's the most important one. Now, district number 2, districts shall not be drawn with the intent or result of denying or abridging the equal opportunity of racial or language minority groups. I don't think this map does that, but again, I can't say definitively no, because there has been no rationale or justification or explanation of this map. So I'd like to assume that the person or people that created this map are not doing that. But again, I can't say for sure because nobody has explained to me why this map is drawn this way. Districts shall consist of contiguous territory. Yes, we did that. Now, number 4 is, I think, the bullet point that this map most egregiously violates. Districts shall be as compact in form as practicable. Contiguous and compact are 2 different things. These districts are contiguous. I'll give you that. Are they compact? No one would ever look at this map and say, this is as compact as these districts could possibly be. There's no way. There are 2 districts that go from one edge of the city to the other one, right? The new District 5 and the River District. That's what I've dubbed it. The River District, which is the new District 6. There's no way. It looks like a salamander. There is no way that these are as compact as possible. And the reason why I know that is because I submitted a map where the districts were as compact as possible. So I know that it is possible to create more districts that are more compact than this. So we have not followed bullet point 4. I also believe that we have not followed bullet point 5. Specifically, the maintenance of cores of existing districts, of pre-existing political subdivisions, including cities, villages, and towns, and of communities of interest that shall also be considered. The core of District 5 and 6, if you handed me this map and said this is a redrawing of a previous map, I would have no idea where the core of the previous District 6 and District 5 are. I believe Councilman Burns spoke to this at the last meeting, but the south side, I mean, of course, the boundaries of the districts have to move, but the south side is like chopped up in a way that I really do not understand. And the constituents on the south side also are, again, from what I've heard, are also not happy with this because where's the core of the There's no core. It's like a snake. Both of them look kind of snake-like. And they're not at all related to the previous maps. So those are my my chief. What's a word that's stronger than concern? I am concerned, but I'm also frankly a little bit angry. I'm going to be honest, because if none of my colleagues are able to provide an explanation to me, a city council member, why this map exists, what am I supposed to say to my constituents? I've been asked, why does the map look like this? And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. There's no, the justification, it's technically not against the rules, is not good enough for me, and it shouldn't be good enough for the residents of this city. So I'm planning to give this map a resounding no vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Burns.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will agree with everything that Councilwoman Friedman just said. And the legality of it. Is it legal? Yeah, I guess it's legal, but it's not right. It's not something that I have been able to, and I'm friends with Republicans and Democrats, and those people that I have discussed it with all ask the same question as my colleague Friedman, and that is, why did they do that? I don't know, but there is no core to the south side now. There is, it was, I didn't like the fact that St. John's was in the current map. There's that little dog leg that goes from down Vestal Avenue around to 434. St. John's is in that, and I'd always thought it was odd that the church that we all go to wasn't in the district that we all lived in. But and as I said last week, the Catholic Church, they don't care about political districts. They went by the core of the neighborhoods, and they put two churches in, one over in the 5th district and one in the 6th district. And the schools, they felt that there was two different neighborhoods, so they put in two different schools, and that was near the core of both the churches. And the Parks Department put in a pool in the core of one district and in the core of the other district. And now those two pools are actually in the 6th district. And the two parks and the children that are playing in those parks and that are going to, as I'm repeating myself, I know. So, but those children don't interact. They will probably never know each other until they get to the high school. But as far as their elementary school and their middle schools and the parks that they go to, they will not play together. They will not know each other. And the reason why is because they don't live in the same neighborhood. And so I'll be voting no on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All the questions, Mr. President.
Okay. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilman Scaringi.
Aye.
Councilwoman Resnetti.
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley is absent. Councilwoman Friedman.
Nay.
Councilman Burns.
Nay.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
President Strong.
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, 2 nays, Friedman and Burns, and 1 absent Riley.
Okay, thank you for that. We will now go to our preferred agenda. Would anybody like anything pulled from the preferred agenda? Go ahead.
Thank you, President Strawn. I would like to please pull introductory ordinance 22-186 and introductory ordinance 22-187 from the preferred agenda, please.
186. Okay. Okay, we will pull them and we'll add them in a minute to our non-preferred agenda. Mr. Clerk, will you walk us through the excuse me, the preferred agenda with those absent those 2 items, please?
Yes. Okay. The first item on tonight's preferred agenda is introductory ordinance 22-181 considered in planning. And this is an ordinance to amend chapter 265-41 housing and property maintenance fees of the code of the city of Binghamton to add additional language.
Questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-181? Okay, please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-183 considered in the Employees Committee, and this is an ordinance to amend various sections of Chapter 5, Administration of Government of the Code of the City of Binghamton.
Okay. Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-183? Okay, please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-184 considered in the MPA Committee, and this is an ordinance to amend Chapter 127-2 procurement policy, basic guidelines for quoting of the city of the code of the city of Binghamton to be consistent with state procurement law.
Questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-184? Please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-185 considered in finance, and this is an ordinance to amend the 2022 fire budget for vehicle parts, equipment maintenance, and building maintenance.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-185? Okay, please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-188 considered in finance, and this is an ordinance to allocate ARPA funds for premium pay as approved in the blue collar and supervisors contracts.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-188? Please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-190 considered in finance, and this is an ordinance to amend the 2022 Binghamton Johnson City Joint Sewage Treatment Facilities budget for gas and diesel.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-190? Please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-191 considered in finance, and this is an ordinance to amend the 2022 Binghamton Johnson City Joint Sewage Treatment Facilities budget for FEMA reimbursement.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-191? Please proceed.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 22-192 considered in finance, and this is an ordinance to amend the 2022 Binghamton Johnson City Joint Sewage Treatment Facilities budget for water expenses.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-192? Please proceed.
Next, we have introductory resolution 22-99 considered in finance. And this is a resolution approving a revolving loan in the amount of $250,000 from the BLDC to Hanaran Enterprises for the purchase of Nurchi's Pizza at 166 Water Street.
Any questions or comments on introductory resolution 22-99? And please proceed.
Next, we have introductory resolution 22-100 considered in planning. And this is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with CNS Engineers, Inc. to perform a climate action plan, greenhouse gas inventory, and New York State climate certification.
Any questions or comments on introductory resolution 22-100? Please proceed.
Next, we have introductory resolution 22-101, considered in finance, and this is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into supplemental agreement number 1 with J.S. Miller Appraisal Associates LLC to reappraise 6 properties.
Any questions or comments on, excuse me, introductory resolution 22-101? Please proceed.
Next, we have introductory resolution 22-102, considered in finance, and this is a resolution authorizing the city of Binghamton to accept a donation from Broadview Federal Credit Union for Fire Prevention Week.
Any questions or comments on introductory resolution 22-102? Please proceed.
And the last item on tonight's preferred agenda is introductory resolution 22-103, considering the Rules and Special Studies Committee. And this is a resolution authorizing Social on State to conduct a fireworks display for New Year's Eve 2022/2023 at midnight.
Any questions or comments on introductory resolution 22-103?
Mr. President, motion to accept the preferred agenda as amended.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk, please.
Okay, Councilman Scaringi,
Aye.
Councilwoman Rossnetti, Councilwoman Riley is absent, Councilwoman Friedman,
Aye.
Councilman Burns,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
President Strawn.
Aye.
That's 6 ayes, 1 absent, Riley.
Okay, thank you for that. We will now move on to our non-preferred agenda. First on that is introductory ordinance 22-186, considered in finance. Councilman Scaringi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ask for unanimous consideration for introductory ordinance 22-182, an ordinance to amend the 2022 Police Capital Fund budget to create and fund a capital budget line for special law enforcement.
Second.
Wait. No, 20, I'm sorry, 22-186. I put the two that we moved.
Oh,
first.
you put those
Yeah.
two pulled ones first. My apologies.
Yep.
I'll rescind the motion, Mr. President. Ask for unanimous consideration for introductory ordinance 22-186, an ordinance to amend the 2022 general fund budget for equipment at the new fire station.
Second.
Questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-186? Councilmember Friedman, go ahead.
Thank you, President Strawn. As is on brand for me, I suppose. The new fire station, I can see it from my house, looks very nice. However, it is, as I've said before, the new fire station is making a lot of my constituents upset. They didn't want it there in the first place. And since they're my boss, I know that they would be upset to find out that I had approved an additional $100,000 toward this project that is, they would argue, is affecting the character of the neighborhood. So I got to listen to the people who elected me. So that's why I'm going to vote no on this one. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on our introductory ordinance 22-186?
Call the question, Mr. President.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilman Scaringi,
Aye.
Councilwoman Rossnetti,
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley is absent, Councilwoman Friedman,
Nay.
Councilman Burns,
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon,
Aye.
President Strawn.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, 1 nay, Friedman, 1 absent, Riley.
Okay, we'll move on to introductory ordinance 22-187, considered in finance. Councilman Scaringi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ask for unanimous consideration for introductory ordinance 22-187, an ordinance to amend the project cost of the new fire station.
Second.
Okay, questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-187? Councilmember Friedman, go ahead.
Thank you, President Strawn. I would like to duplicate, I guess, my comments that I made on the last introductory ordinance, that again, my constituents who live in that area are just really unhappy with this project. And it's also, it's quite expensive. Obviously, building a new specialized building is going to be very expensive, but again, an additional $200,000 for a project that is making everybody in the neighborhood upset. Again, as my constituents who elected me would be upset to find out that I had approved this, I'm also going to be voting no on it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on introductory ordinance 22-187? Okay, question's been called. Mr. Clerk, you take a roll call first, please.
Councilman Scringy.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brasnetti.
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley is absent. Councilwoman Friedman.
Nay.
Councilman Burns.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
President Strawn.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, 1 nay Friedman, 1 absent Riley.
Thank you. I will now move on to introductory ordinance 22-182, considered in finance. Councilman Scringy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask for unanimous consideration for introductory ordinance 22-182, an ordinance to amend the 2022 Police Capital Fund budget to create and fund a capital budget line for special law enforcement.
Questions or comments on, excuse me, introductory ordinance 22-182?
Call the question, Mr. President.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilman Scringy.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brasnetti.
Aye.
Councilwoman Riley is absent. Councilwoman Friedman.
Nay.
Councilman Burns.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
And President Strawn.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, 1 nay Friedman, 1 absent Riley.
Okay, thank you. We will now move on to introductory ordinance 22-189, considered in finance, and we also have some seeker motions on this as well. Councilman Scringy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to ask for unanimous consideration for introductory ordinance 22-189, an ordinance authorizing the sale of 92 Park Ave to Sabrina Brooks for $65,000.
Second.
You want to read it? Yeah, we're good.
I'd like to make a motion to declare city council as lead agency under seeker.
Second.
Okay, we have a voice vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, continue.
Mr. President, a motion and to identify the proposed action as unlisted under seeker.
So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Does that, sorry, point of,
That's for the B, motion to identify action as unlisted.
does that need a second?
It was Councilman Scanlon seconded it.
Oh.
Do we get all in favor? Do it? Aye?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
all right, continue.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to issue a negative declaration under seeker for the following reasons. This is an existing single-family house that was renovated pursuant to the city's RISE innovation program. Structure that has been brought to code compliance and is ready to sell. The purchaser is a city resident that wishes to use the property for residential purposes. As a result, there is no change in use and no environmental impact.
Second.
Okay, we need a roll call on that, Mr. Clerk.
Councilman Scringy.
Aye.
Councilwoman Brasnetti.
Aye.
Riley is absent. Councilwoman Friedman.
Aye.
Councilman Burns.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
And President Strawn.
Aye.
That's 6 ayes, 1 absent Riley.
I'll reintroduce and ask for unanimous consideration for introductory ordinance 22-189, an ordinance authorizing the sale of 92 Park Avenue to Sabrina Brooks for $65,000.
Second.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-189? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Call the question.
Oh, sorry. Call it.
No, you're,
Councilman Scarnati.
Aye.
Councilwoman Resnetti.
Aye.
Riley is absent. Councilwoman Friedman.
Aye.
Councilman Burns.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
President Strong.
Aye.
That's 6 ayes, 1 absent. Riley.
Thank you for that. We'll now move on to introductory ordinance 22-193, consider in finance, Councilman Scringy.
thank you, Mr. President. Stand and ask for unanimous consideration for introductory ordinance 22-193, an ordinance to amend the 2022 general fund and capital budget for police vehicles and equipment.
Second.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-193? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilman Scarnati.
Aye.
Councilwoman Resnetti.
Aye.
Riley is absent. Councilwoman Friedman.
Nay.
Councilman Burns.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
President Strong.
Aye.
That's 5 ayes, 1 nay Friedman, 1 absent Riley.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move on to introductory ordinance 22-194, consider in finance, Councilman Scringy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ask for unanimous consideration for introductory ordinance 22-194, an ordinance to amend the 2022 Binghamton Johnson City Joint Sewage Treatment Facilities budget to close out capital funds.
Second.
Any questions or comments on introductory ordinance 22-194?
Call the question, Mr. President.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilman Scarnati.
Aye.
Councilwoman Resnetti.
Aye.
Riley is absent. Councilwoman Friedman.
Aye.
Councilman Burns.
Aye.
Councilman Scanlon.
Aye.
President Strong.
Aye.
That's 6 ayes, 1 absent Riley.
Okay, thank you for that, everyone. Appreciate it. We will now move on to our communications and we will start last meeting of the year, unbelievably, with Council District 7, Councilman Scanlon.
No comment tonight, Mr. President.
We'll now move on to District 1, First Ward, Councilman Scringy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and a very Happy New Year. And obviously, over the next few days, make sure you stay warm. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, we'll now move on to District 2 and Councilwoman Resnetti.
Mr. President, I too want to wish everyone happy holidays. Happy New Year. I do hope that the new year brings nothing but health and happiness for every single one of us. Happy winter solstice today or tomorrow. That was the first day of winter. Bundle up. There's a very cold weekend coming up. Which reminds me, I want a big thank you to DPW for everything they've done. The last storm we had, and I'm not exactly sure what it's going to look like with snow this weekend, but it's definitely going to be cold. Keep an eye on your neighbor. And thank you to all of those that showed up at Red Park. I don't remember if I said that last time I was here. Thank you to all for all the donations, the toys. It was just every year I'm reminded. All the time, I'm reminded about how giving and wonderful our community is, and how when we come together, we can make such a big difference. So it was a great event for Toys for Tots. That's it. Happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go to District 4 and Councilmember Friedman.
Thank you, President Strawn. My first comment is something that actually I forgot to bring up, not to harp on the map, but I'm going to harp on the map for just a second. That even though we did not leave enough time in the timeline to really legitimately consider public feedback, the one way in which I can consider public feedback is on which way I ought to vote. And I would like to say on the record, I have not heard of or received a single piece of positive feedback on the map that we just approved. I not only like radio silence on the positive front, but I mean, all the feedback I received was negative. This is confusing. I don't understand it. It looks like it's gerrymandered. So that's one way that I'm going to incorporate public feedback is listen to people that told me to vote no on it. So so that I can actually like engage with my constituents. Okay, now that's it for the map. I also wanted to give a shout out to DPW from the last storm. They were like out immediately plowing and plowing and plowing. So thank you so much for people who show up to work when a lot of us get to enjoy a snow day. What was the other thing I wanted to say? I guess just happy holidays, Hanukkah Sameach to everyone who's celebrating, Merry Christmas and happy any other holidays. Oh, the other thing I was going to say, speaking of happy holidays, is I'd like to encourage anyone who's still buying gifts to shop local. We have so many small, locally owned businesses in the city that if you have the opportunity to do so, I do encourage everyone to take advantage of that, and invest their money into the community in a way where you can get a cool, unique gift and also make sure that a local business owner gets to reap the benefits of that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Now go to District 5 and Councilman Burns.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. Thanks to all the people that work outside for the city of Binghamton in the cold. Thanks for doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, just a very brief, once again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah. I think that was a great comment that Councilmember Friedman said about shopping locally. I think that's a great thing. Dining, I guess you'd have to dine locally, but I mean, consider some of the small cafes and coffee shops and local, business people that we have on all fronts. I think that's a great idea. I think that legislation we passed earlier to help a local person buy that Nurcheese on Water Street was well done and good use of the resources of the city to help that happen. I just will mention, it's been mentioned, but I heard it on the radio today, but with what's going to happen Friday with the change in weather, just be careful out there. There's probably going to be a lot of ice, and don't be afraid to check on a neighbor, knock on a door. I had a furnace go out this week, even in 30-degree weather. Houses cool down pretty fast in this temperature if something happens. So just keep your eyes open to help your neighbor if they need help, and stay warm and have a great holiday weekend. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great holiday weekend and Merry Christmas and